Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another company webcast. We're featuring Reviva Pharmaceuticals, which trades under ticker RVPH on the NASDAQ. For today's discussion, Dr. Lak Spot, CEO of Reviva, will be taking us through their slide presentation, followed by a Q&A discussion. With that, let's get started. Lax, welcome.
Okay. Ben, thanks for having me here. Good afternoon, everyone. And I would like to welcome you all to our company presentation today. Before I begin my presentation, I would like you to take a look at our forward-looking statements displayed here. So we are a clinical late-stage pharmaceutical company focused on developing novel therapeutics or next-generation therapeutics for diseases of neuro targets. That's our focus as well as a core strength. We have currently a lead drug candidate in the phase 3 development. Last month we announced the top-line data for long-term safety, and we expect to start the second confirmational studies soon. And then our timeline, as highlighted here, NDA submission is sometime in early 2026. So in the next 12 to 18 months, we expect to give multiple catalysts. So this is our pipeline. We have two molecules currently in development. Both are discovered in-house. Brilaroxazine is the most advanced molecule currently in the phase 3 development. Based on the available data generated to date in close to 900 patients, we believe the drug can be readily developed beyond schizophrenia to additional closely related neuropsychiatric diseases such as bipolar, major depressive disorder, and ADHD. The drug has differentiated from other antipsychotics currently used as standard of care, primarily a mechanism-wise to anti-inflammatory effect, because most schizophrenia patients, as well as in general psychiatric patients, suffer from systemic inflammation. So anti-inflammatory effect is believed to be beneficial, not only enhancing the efficacy, but also to address some of the side effects seen in the current treatment options. So based on the available translational data, robust data in the translational model for inflammatory conditions highlighted here, pulmonary arterial hypertension, pulmonary fibrosis, as well as psoriasis. So we believe the drug can be readily developed for these inflammatory conditions as well. So today's presentation, I would like to walk through a few slides highlighting clinical data for schizophrenia. That's our advanced program, as well as in the next 12 to 18 months clinical milestones, what we are expecting to provide. So just before presenting the data, just quickly to connect you to some of the background information of schizophrenia. Schizophrenia is a very large indication. 24 million people suffer from schizophrenia globally. US alone, close to 4 million people. Despite having few antipsychotics currently in the market, around 30% patients do not respond to currently available treatment or partially respond. We call them as treatment refractory patients. This is a significant unmet need, and then the patient population, refractory patients, 1/3 is in a couple of millions. So if you look at the last two bullet points highlighted here, despite having multiple antipsychotics currently in the market, again, treatment has a lot of unmet need. And then ability to treat systemic neuroinflammation is one of the major unmet need, but also the negative symptom component in schizophrenia is suboptimally addressed with the currently available treatments. So the reason for that is highlighted on the right-hand side, that the fundamental difference between the schizophrenia and other chronic conditions. So schizophrenia is not a single disease, rather it is a mix of multiple symptom domains. Major symptom domains are highlighted here: positive symptom, negative symptom, cognitive, and then mood. So negative symptom is the one, this is kind of a chronic in nature. It is also connected to a great extent connected to cognitive impairment, mood symptoms as well. So addressing negative symptom, possibly the most important criteria to have long-term treatment effect. So this is one of the biggest unmet need. If you look at to summarize here, so possibly if you would like to compare multiple drugs currently, antipsychotics currently available. So if you would like to see how good is our data compared to these approved antipsychotics, so possibly considering a discontinuation rate can be a yardstick to measure individual antipsychotics, because patients discontinue medication if the efficacy is not good, and then also if a drug has a intolerable side effects. So combination of both suboptimal efficacy and then side effects or poor tolerability lead to discontinuation. To summarize here, brilaroxazine is our drug candidate. If you look at negative symptoms, the most difficult one to addressed very well, basically in the phase 2 as well as phase 3, statistically significant outcome in addition to primary endpoint and overall outcome. And then the second is a good efficacy, besides efficacy, better tolerability and side effect profile that led to combination is a good compliance. If you look at the discontinuation rate highlighted here with our drug, less than placebo, as well as less than historical data reported to any other standard of care. We believe the good compliance or a less discontinuation rate derived from superior efficacy and safety data are demonstrated by our drug, brilaroxazine. Now, quickly to coming to the clinical outcome, we have successfully completed 2 large randomized trials, phase 2 study in global study in 234 patients in 3 different doses. 2 doses showed statistically significant outcome. In the phase 3, 411 patients, top dose showed statistically significant outcome consistent with what we generated in the phase 2. Low dose showed a directional improvement. And then if you look at the long-term safety data that we announced last month. So long-term safety data, as well as an efficacy generated in this, again, further confirmed the data generated in the last 2 trials. So now we are, expecting to start the second confirmatory study in Q1. So this is a 4 weeks treatment. Similar to RECOVER-1 study successfully completed. So we expect to complete the study sometime in early 2026. NDA submission is planned sometime in Q2 2026. So now to quickly highlight the phase 3 data. So this is the phase 3 double-blind study data, as you can see here. So the top dose showed robust efficacy in 4 weeks with a 10-point separation from placebo. Most important features associated with this data, treatment effect, is that the early onset of action with the separation, statistically significant separation in the first week itself, and then continue to improve throughout the treatment period, even at week 4. The low dose took a week more to catch up because it is understandable a good dose response. If we continue to treat these patients in additional 2 weeks, we think the low dose also show statistically significant outcome. But the bottom line is the top dose consistently showed efficacy in the phase 2 as well as phase 3 with a separation of 10-point separation from placebo. 10-point separation from placebo is really a good magnitude of efficacy outcome. In the historical data, if you look at widely used standard of care antipsychotics showed in similar trial anywhere net of placebo or placebo adjusted 3 to 8-point separation. Here, 10-point separation makes this drug really a well-differentiated product with the overall efficacy. So this is about a primary endpoint for drug approval criteria it meets. However, if you would like to evaluate this efficacy, what would be the long-term outcome? Possibly the secondary endpoints are most critical ones. So I will walk through a few secondary endpoints just to show you how differentiated the clinical profile we have with our drug. So secondary endpoints, positive symptom, is very closely related to the primary endpoint. Every single antipsychotic currently in the market showed a statistically significant outcome on positive symptom because in the acute schizophrenia, primary goal is to stabilize patients by reducing the positive symptom. If a drug can't address positive symptom, you can't expect to have a primary endpoint to meet the statistical significance. So we met both primary endpoint and then secondary endpoint positive symptom. However, the remaining secondary endpoints, what I'm going to show, not all antipsychotics showed similar data. So that's where the unmet need comes with the treatment. One of the secondary endpoints highlighted here is agitation. Agitation is one of the common symptom domains in schizophrenia. So as you can see here, in 4-week study, we have seen statistically significant outcome. Again, not all antipsychotics show statistically significant outcome. This is further supports that a broad spectrum efficacy. So negative symptom efficacy, there are 2 scales we use. One is a general negative symptom scale. This is a very traditional scale being used in the last 25 years. To some extent, this also comprises of other overlapping symptom domains such as mood and cognitive function. So this has shown a statistically significant outcome. But if you look at the model factor, that is more related to core negative symptom. So this one, to some extent, it separates from cognitive dysfunction and mood symptoms. They are, we consider in the recent literature, if you look at clinical understanding of negative symptom. So core negative symptom is considered as a kind of a more persistent or a predominant negative symptom. And then if you consider the cognitive overlapping cognitive symptom, mood symptoms, they are to some extent influenced by secondary negative symptoms. So on both the scales, the drug has shown good efficacy, robust efficacy, especially if you look at the core negative symptom. In the first week itself, it's separated from placebo. That's very hard to see in this space, and then continue to improve. So this is really a reflective of a good remission as well as a recovery, possibly relapsing symptoms in this patient population. Now, the social cognition and then functional outcome, PSP. So these two are very closely related to negative symptom. Unless a drug has robust efficacy for negative symptom, you don't expect to see these two. These two outcome on secondary measurements or secondary endpoints further supports the strong data what we generated with the negative symptom. Now, CGI is further again, further supports the overall outcome. Most important thing is around 78% patients showed statistically significant improvement on CGI, and then 81% patients showed, improvement or compliance as well. This is really, again, further supporting overall broad spectrum efficacy and then good compliance. Now, this is about the efficacy. Now, quickly, at the beginning, I mentioned about the neuroinflammation. Neuroinflammation is a part of this, the symptom domains in this patient population. So the longer this patient suffers, schizophrenia is a lifelong disease in most patients. Longer this patient suffer, they are likely to have more chronic neuroinflammation. IL-8 is the pro-inflammatory marker cytokine, is highly expressed in schizophrenia patients. If you look at our data here, dose-dependent, statistically significant improvement in this patient population. And then also another biomarker, chemokine. So if you look at the bottom highlighted here, besides these two biomarkers, there are multiple biomarkers related to inflammation also reduced. They are not statistically significant because you don't expect to have every single biomarker to show statistically significant improvement, because there is a quite heterogeneity you expect in this patient population with the different markers. So bottom line is there is a good trend in overall improvement in decrease in pro-inflammatory markers. The most important one, highly expressed IL-8, showed statistically significant improvement. So based on this, we believe this has a strong anti-inflammatory effect as demonstrated in number of translational models. So this is very well reflected in both efficacy and then side effects. To summarize here, as you can see, in the middle column, this is the primary endpoint and then key secondary endpoints. Every single pre-specified set secondary endpoints met with robust efficacy. And then also, because of the broad spectrum efficacy, drug has shown good compliance, 16% discontinuation versus placebo, 22%, historical data for other antipsychotics over 30%. So this is around a 50% better than historical data reported with other antipsychotics. So overall, broad spectrum efficacy and then good compliance, treatment adherence reported. Left-hand side showed here are key biomarkers. Again, IL-8 showed statistically significant improvement. Similarly, with the hormones, prolactin is known to increase in schizophrenia patients, as well as with the number of drugs currently in the market also known to increase. Increase in prolactin in further causes mood symptoms. Patients will have difficulty to overcome mood symptoms and other conditions. So decrease in prolactin is further supporting that a good efficacy. Lastly, the BDNF is another marker related to neuroinflammation, showed statistically significant improvement that further supports good efficacy and treatment effect. Lastly, digital biomarker highlighted here. This is a specific to negative symptom. If you look at here, enriched patients with the digital biomarker, out of 411 patients, 220 patients have high degree of negative symptoms. In this patient population, if you look at the treatment effect, almost double than the overall patient population. That further confirms the strong, robust efficacy for one of the most difficult symptom domains to treat. Our drug has shown good efficacy. So this is the safety profile and a very clean profile. So it's kind of comparable to placebo, 35% in treatment effect versus placebo. There is no dose dependent in general overall side effects seen. And then if you look at over 5% side effects reported are somnolence and then headache, when the remaining are pretty much clean profile. Now, if you look at the long-term safety study in the 1-year study, that further confirmed the efficacy generated in 4-week study, again, comparable to 4 weeks randomized trial. Most importantly, efficacy, sustained efficacy over 1 year. That is very important. All 3 doses showed good efficacy, sustained improvement. Most importantly, patients who rolled over from acute treatment to 1-year treatment, over 86% patients showed over 30-point decrease in PANSS score. And then over 60% patients showed over 40-point decrease in PANSS score. These are really a very good numbers, robust numbers compared to other standard of care. Most importantly, sustained long-term efficacy with a very good safety, favorable safety profile. This a combination of this, we believe, our drug met the most unmet needs in this treatment regime for schizophrenia. So this is a very differentiated profile. This should immensely benefit patients if it approaches the market. Now, this is the comparison of phase 2 versus phase 3 data. I would not go into detail, but as I summarized in the previous slides, total PANSS scores are comparable, primary endpoint as well as a key secondary endpoints, including the discontinuation rate. So this is the if you would like to compare the data with other marketed drug, widely used blockbuster drug. If you look at the blue bars are for marketed drug, and then purple bar is for our drug. On the primary endpoint, if you look at on the left-hand side, certainly our drug showed robust efficacy, differentiated than other treatment options. If you look at the right-hand side, the total PANSS is a primary endpoint, or if you would like to compare 3 major secondary endpoints, the symptom domains, positive symptom, negative symptom, and then functional outcome, again, our drug differentiated with one of the widely used antipsychotics, both in the acute as well as the long-term treatment, aripiprazole. So this is about the data. So we expect to, as I mentioned at the beginning, we expect to start the second study soon. And then as we announced last month in the top line data for long-term safety data, we expect to announce the full analysis data for long-term safety sometime in March. So with that, and then most of the non-clinical studies completed required for NDA. So we are very optimistic about the future prospects of this drug. In the next 6 to 18 months, we expect to give multiple catalysts as we make progress toward NDA, and then we expect to file NDA sometime in Q2 2026. So this is about the clinical outcome. So thank you all for your attention. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Bhatt. Just a couple of questions while we have some time. So the big differentiation for brilaroxazine is that it's generally well tolerated, low rates of adverse events and discontinuation. Can you share some of the key reasons for that?
Yes, the key reasons what we believe in the basic pharmacology of that one is it's designed to have not only target focused efficacy, but also often we don't hear from other drugs that off targets are optimizing the off targets are also equally important, because off targets causes a lot of side effect. We have addressed in our drug. So selectivity as well as selectivity for the targets associated with our drug, and then minimal or no activity for the off targets, that makes difference. And then also ability of our drug to address systemic inflammation. We believe that significantly contributed. Secondly, the way the drug metabolizes in the body, that also contribute in the long-term treatment, a lot of side effects. We call it as drug-drug interaction. Our drug, based on the clinical study completed, is unlikely to cause drug-drug interaction and in the trial, because variability is much less compared to other approved antipsychotics. So based on the combination of good safety profile and an efficacy, treatment adherence improved, because this is a lifelong treatment. Patients' treatment adherence is extremely important. So combination of this translated very well into a good profile. So we believe this would benefit significantly the patient population.
Okay, and then finally, with regards to the open label extension of recover and sort of expected in the first quarter here, what should we expect from the full set data here?
So full set data in the top line, we announced only the key primary and then secondary endpoints and overall safety profile. We would provide further detail into multiple secondary endpoints as well as primary endpoints in the close to around 150 patients completed 1 year treatment, as well as around 300 patients completed 6 months. That is a much larger patient population data. And then also we will provide some of the biomarkers, especially the vocal biomarker for negative symptom data also we expect to provide. So the complete package of fully analyzed data, we believe the further confirm the strong data what we generated in the double-blind trial.
Okay, well, it looks like we are out of time. Thank you, Dr. Bhatt, and thank you everyone for watching. If you have any questions or would like to schedule a meeting with Reviva, please send me an email at shamsian@lythampartners.com. That's SHAMSIAN at lythampartners.com. We have additional presentations and chats coming up next, so please stick around for more. And thank you and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.